He was making so much money that practically forgot to take a day off. Like and share. Let's see. An unusual labor question. Imagine a salesperson who earns a relatively modest base salary, but receives a very good commission for every sale. The company never told him to work 7 days a week. Quite the opposite, he simply discovers that every extra day means more commissions, and more commissions is more income. Gradually, he begins working almost every day of the week. Public holidays become the only days he occasionally stays home, because every working day represents another opportunity to earn more. For the entire year, everything appears to be perfect. The company increases its sales, the employee earns far more expected, and neither side has any reason to complain. Then, 1 year and 1 day pass. The employee becomes legally entitled to annual paid vacation, and a surprisingly difficult question suddenly appears. How do you calculate vacation for somebody who practically never had a clearly identifiable weekly day off? At first, the answer seems obvious. Many people would simply count the vacation and move on. But the labor law is not that simple. Vacation is calculated using working days, not weekly days of rest. Before anything can be determined, how many vacation days must be granted, a much more fundamental question has to be answered. What was the employee's weekly day off in the first place? What was agreed? When did he have to rest during the week? The logical place to begin is the employment contract, of course. If the parties expressly agreed which day would be the employee's weekly day off, whether in writing or through a sufficiently clear agreement, the legal analysis becomes relatively straightforward. Unfortunately, it's not the case. The employer never established a fixed weekly day off because the entire system seemed to be working perfectly. The salesperson decided for himself when to take a break or to take one at all, and everybody appeared satisfied with that arrangement. The problem becomes even more interesting because the company's busiest sales day happens to be Sunday. That means that we cannot simply assume that Sundays was always the employee's weekday off. If he spent most Sundays working in order to maximize his commissions, that assumption may be completely disconnected from reality. Suddenly, what looked like a simple vacation calculation turns into a much more sophisticated legal analysis. When the contract remains silent, mandatory labor rules begin filling the gap. Specifically, ILO conventions, International Labor Organization, conventions number 14 and 106, both incorporated into the Bolivian labor law, recognize every employee's right to one uninterrupted 24-hour weekly rest period and establish that Sundays should generally be preferred day off, unless another agreement has been agreed or the nature of the work requires otherwise, for instance, flying, fly-out rota. Those rules become the legal starting point for determining both annual vacation and the legal treatment of Sunday work. The practical lesson for employers is remarkably simple. A generous commission system may encourage an employee to work almost every day, starting Monday, ending Sunday. But what is precisely why the weekly day off should be clearly established from the very beginning of employment relationship. The better incentive system works, the more important that contractual definitions becomes. This is exactly why we developed our job offer letter and acceptance package. Instead of waiting until a dispute arises, this document allows both parties to define the essential employment conditions, including the weekly day off, even before the employee's very first working day. It could be signed even today with an old date. In other words, it helps prevent tomorrow's legal problems before they ever exist. The package is already available on our online legal store for 70 pesos, can be downloaded immediately together with its invoice. Sometimes the biggest labor problems are not created by what the contract says. They are created by what the contract never said. Amestegui Asesores Laborales, productivity built on legal certainty and trust.